Hi everyone at Team PDFA, Marcus Mepstead here. I'm going to run through with you a yoga routine. It's going to take about 15 minutes, going to warm you up. We're going to work through a bit of physical preparation, some mental preparation, really get you going for the day. So I hope you guys enjoy and let's get going. You're going to step towards the edge of your area or your mat. You're going to reach down, touching your toes, slowly moving until your hands are down by your feet. Then you're going to walk them out into a plank position. From here, you're going to make sure that your shoulders are just over your wrists. Engage your core before you push back into a downward facing dog. You want to have deep breaths in this position. So you're breathing in for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. And then breathe out for a count of 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're really pushing your shoulders out and you're bringing your hips up to the sky before you lift your right leg up into the air and try and make a straight line between your wrists, your shoulders, your hips, and that elevated foot. Really keep it straight up in the air. Keep that breathing going for a count of 4 on the way in and then 4 on the way out. And on that outward breath, you're going to bring the knee up towards your chest, keeping the foot off the ground. Breathe in and breathe out, pushing the foot back up in the air. You're then going to bring the right knee to the outside of your right elbow. Keeping the foot off the ground, you're coming into that plank position just with 3 points of contact, really squeezing the glutes and the abs to hold this position before you kick back into the downward facing dog with the right foot elevated. You're next going to move the right knee to the outside of your left elbow. So you're crossing the body, holding this position nice and strong, squeezing your core, squeezing the glutes before you bring it back, elevating that right foot up in the air and in that 3-legged downward dog. Next, you're going to drive the foot in between your hands into a deep lunge. Your back foot's bent with your knee just above the ground and your front foot, your knee over the ankle, holding that position nice and strong. Your hands are pushing up to the ceiling. Imagine you're trying to hold the ceiling up with those hands as you sit in this deep lunge. Next is warrior pose. So you want to be in that fencing lunge with your right foot forwards, nice and bent, and your left foot is straight behind you. You're going to be looking in the direction that you're facing with both hands elevated as if you're holding a tray of drinks before you switch into a reverse warrior pose, reaching back behind you with the right arm, placing the left hand on your hips and pushing forwards as you reach back behind with the arm. You're going to keep breathing nice and deep, switching back into that warrior pose. Keep working for that count of 4 on the way in and that 4 on the way out on the exhale. Once you sit in this position for a little bit longer, you're going to get ready to switch into triangle pose. In triangle pose, you want to switch your hips forwards, so they're both facing forwards, both your feet and your hips, and you're going to straighten both legs. So the triangle is going to run from one foot up the leg, up to your hips and down the other foot. You're trying to squeeze and compress your belly against your thigh in this position, really working through some deep breathing for a count of 4 on the way in and then 4 on the way out. Really feel that stretch coming through your hamstring. You should feel it on both. When I'm doing this, I feel this a lot more on my front leg. After this, you're going to shift the weight forwards and rest on that standing leg. There's a soft bend on that right leg, which is standing, and the left foot is elevated. You're trying to make a straight line from the heel of the left foot all the way up to the hands. Try and keep your back nice and flat. Really push into that standing leg. It's going to give you a lot of support, and make sure your hips are closed so your hips aren't open and flaring out. Keep breathing through that count of 4 on the way in and 4 on the way out, and then lower your hands, bring the foot back next to each other, and you're slowly going to stay in this position. You're really going to compress your belly against your thighs. Try and feel that deep stretch coming through in the hamstrings. You want to place your hands down by your feet. Try and manage that position as best as you can and work through those deep breaths. You're breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then exhaling for 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to bring the left foot back, go into that plank position, and we're going to work through the other side. So once you've been in that plank position, working through those nice deep breaths, activating your core, you're going to push back into a downward facing dog. So the same position we started in. Really push through those shoulders, really work through those breathing. In for 4 and out for 4. Use this moment to really push through your palms into the ground. Your fingers should be flat and spread, and your toes really pushing into the ground as well before you elevate that left foot, trying to raise it as high as you can. So there's a nice straight line going from your wrists to your shoulders, to your hips, and to the heels of that left foot. Keep working in this position, really pushing through the palms, really pushing through that standing leg, pushing through those toes. Next, you're going to bring the knee in towards your chest, keeping the foot above the ground. So you're working through that plank position before you drive back up into this downward dog. Then you're going to bring the knee to your left elbow, holding the foot above the ground, bringing it back up before you cross the body and bring the knee to the right elbow. Holding that position for 2 seconds and then coming back into the 3-legged downward dog. Holding that foot up in the air. Should feel some pressure coming through the shoulders, but it should be manageable. You're going to bring the knee in towards your chest and then place the foot in between the feet, going into that deep lunge. Hold this position, working through that breathing, keeping the back knee just above the ground and pushing your hands up to the sky. You're switching into that warrior pose. Just adjust your feet if you need to so they're in line, making sure that front knee is over the ankle and the back leg is straight. You want to have a nice horizontal line running through your hands. Sitting deep in this pose, it's a really good quad strengthener. Next, you're going to go into the reverse warrior pose. Your right hand pushing through your hips and your left hand reaching back behind you. Keep pushing forwards, keep sinking into that warrior pose, really working through, really feeling the quad starting to work. You're then going to switch back out into the original warrior pose, holding this for a little bit longer before we rotate into the triangle pose. You might need to adjust your feet just to allow you to have both straight. You want to straighten the front leg and the back leg for this pose and then slowly reach, putting your hands either side of your foot. You're trying to compress your belly against your thigh, holding that position and keeping that deep breathing in place. Breathing in for 4 and then breathing out for 4. You're going to shift the weight onto that left foot and you're just going to shorten the pose a little bit before you start to elevate the right foot, and you're going to go into that standing pose where there's a nice straight horizontal line between your heels and your hands. You really need to push through that standing leg, fighting for that balance and keeping that breathing in place. A nice breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4 and out for 4, 3, 2 and 1. On the exhale from here, you're slowly going to get ready to bring the foot next to each other. To ease into this, you can lower the hands to the ground, bring the foot back next to the other, hold this position before you move into the next one. Really sit in this position for a little bit. Again, compress the belly against the thigh. Feel that breathing in for 4 and out for 4. Working through this pose, staying nice and strong. You're going to reach that final exhale and then you're going to reach back behind you with your legs, coming into that plank position. Bring your hips down, make sure your shoulders are above your wrists, engage your core, squeezing your stomach nice and strong. Hold this position and then you're going to lower the knees down, shift the weight back so your bum is on your heels, and you're going to sit into the child's pose. This is a really nice rest pose, and this is a really good opportunity to work your mindset. Think about how you want to be for the day. Think about how you want to work through and how you really want to maximize what you're doing. It's a really great opportunity also just to let your thoughts come and go. Imagine them as leaves on a stream. You don't need to interact. You don't need to pick them up. You just watch them, each thought coming and going, in and out of your head. If you get stuck with one thought, it's okay. Just remind yourself either to come back into the breathing or the space around you. Finally, you're just going to become aware of that space around you. Listen to any sounds, listen to any noises, any smells. Really see yourself, visualize yourself in this space. Take a moment just to be really, really present, and then you can ease out of the pose and you're ready for the day.